Do you know how hard it is to find a good title and thumbnail for your videos when the topic that you discuss is so niche? I mean, who the hell cares about rhythmic reductions besides me? And maybe you, because you clicked on the video, which I appreciate that. Hello dudes, and however you say dudes in female, how's it hanging? The song I'll discuss in this episode actually came out today. I mean, assuming you watch this video today. Well, I mean, I guess every day is today, but not today.
When will then be now? Soon.
Also, it's my younger brother's birthday today, so Mazal Tov, ya melech. Anyway, this song is from the new Fractal Sextet album, and it's called something in French. Maxim, how do you read this?
You would say mise en abîme. Yeah, and it's kind of a deep concept, like artistically. You know, that reminds me about this story.
Yeah, sure, okay. Anyway, this song, and this whole album really, is packed with really cool rhythmic stuff, so let's dive in. We'll be discussing 3 cool things in this song, where the last thing will be that reduction that I'm sure that even some of the band members didn't even notice that I threw it in. You're welcome, by the way. Okay, so first things first, the main groove of the whole piece is a 7/3 beat. Naturally, when you're dealing with 7s and 3s, the common denominator is 21, and as expected, you can divide these beats into 3 groups of 7 or 7 groups of 3. The 7 pattern will be expressed as such, where beats 1 and 3 are played by the bass and the kick drum, and beat 5 is played by the snare. The pattern in 3 is played by the hi-hat, or these cool bell things that I love putting on the snare drum, playing beat 1 of every group. The piano also joins that group occasionally. The result of this interaction, to my ears at least, creates this groove in 7 that has a triplet feel, but there are also other different ways you can hear this groove. But for now, let's call every 21 beat chunk, so every 1 rep of this interaction, 1 cycle. Moving on, there's a break where the groove is a bit blurred with delays and stuff. So right before we go back to the groove, I decided to lead into it with a tihai. Now, do you remember what a tihai is? Of course not. But isn't it great that I already made a video about it? So just go watch it. It's very cool. This tihai is the one with the gaps. So what you do is you choose the target beat, the one that you want to lead to, and then you calculate backwards 3 reps of your phrase with the 2 gaps. Our phrase here happens to be 8 beats long, and our gaps are 2 beats each. So 8 times 3 plus 2 2-beat gaps. So 8 times 3 is 24, plus 4, that's 28. And this magically leads us to start the tihai right on beat 1, which is very classy. By the way, if you need a more in-depth explanation about the calculations and the tihais, just go watch this video. I actually stole this tihai from a different song I played in, written by Rohi Jayaraman and his mom Asha Ramesh. I played a similar version there, and by I played, I mean I stole it from Rohit and Giri, who came up with it before me. So Rohit, let's see if you actually watch my videos. Let me know who wrote it, and I'll buy whoever did some ice cream, just for the royalties. I care about you, I care. And now, finally, we get to the moment that I guess not too many people were waiting for, but the ignored reduction. And I warn you, this is so geeky that Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory would bully me for my lunch money after this explanation.
Now bring me the subconscious discographic hypnotator, and don't give me no lip.
Oh, and if you feel adventurous, go try and find it by yourself before I tell you about it. It's out everywhere. Anyway, a reduction, in our context, is a pattern or a phrase that shrinks with some degree of internal logic. So remember the groove cycle we talked about earlier? Great. This groove goes on and on throughout the whole song and has two natural strong gravitational points. Their first one would be the built-in one, the meeting point between the beginnings of the two different groups, so beat 1 of every cycle. And the other strong point will be any arrangement shift, so an introduction to a new section or a new harmonic sequence, for example. My reduction has two sets of rules, let's say. So first of all, I'll be looking at this side of the equation, the 3 side, and I'll be accenting on a stacked cymbal groups of 5 beats, then 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that would be the first rule I set, let's say, going from 5 to 1. Cool, so the other rule is I start these accents on beat 1, of course, and once I start playing said group, I only move to the next number once the accent happens to land on the beginning of the cycle again. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the accent again mid-phrase. And again. And again. And again. And again. And again. And now look how the accent came back to beat 1 again, which is where I'll be moving to the next group, the 4.
Yep, this takes about a week to resolve.
Okay, so I'll compress each groove cycle to look like this, where each one of these circles represents a group of 3. So, 7 groups of 3, 7 circles. So this here is one groove cycle, and I have a bunch of these. So I start accenting each group of 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, till I get an accent on the beginning of a cycle again. Once I do, I start accenting 4s, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, till I get an accent on the beginning of the cycle again, and then I move to 3s, and then 2s, and finally 1s, I guess. Yes, this is mega long. By the way, try and not get confused by this hit over here. There's a crash there and quite a big shift, but it's just a transition hit and has nothing to do with a reduction. Here it is. I think it's incredible how satisfying this is for me, while I know that it's just gonna go over the heads of, 98% of listeners. I mean, as I said before, I'm not even sure that some of the band members noticed that I did this. But to be fair, it's very, very subtle, and it's in the background. It's not the first thing that pops up when you listen to the song, so don't feel bad if you missed it. But do feel great if you did catch it. These kinds of long-form rhythmic adventures take a long time, and this song, and this album actually, is perfect for it. Every song here takes its time and evolves really, really slowly, giving each rhythmic cycle the appropriate amount of time to get settled in. I recorded this album about a year ago in Switzerland, after I was contacted by Stephan Thelen, the guitar player and main composer of the album. The other amazing musicians on this album are Jon Durant on guitar, Fabio Anile on keys, Andi Pupato on percussion, and Colin Edwin on bass, which is particularly exciting for me as he is the bass player on some of my absolute favorite albums ever, Fear of a Blank Planet and The Incident by Porcupine Tree. He was also the one who suggested me for the project, so I couldn't be happier about this. So go listen to the rest of the tracks. This album is packed with intricacies and nuance and is a real treat for us rhythm lovers. If you like this video, consider liking, leaving a comment or subscribing. It really helps me a ton with getting to more people, and it helps YouTube realize that advanced rhythmic content like this is way more important than, let's say, I don't know, the news and stuff like that. Come on. And if you really want to help me some more, consider joining this fine group of excellent people on my Patreon page at patreon.com/YogevGabay. They really help me pay the bills and really help me focus on this work. And it goes a huge way with making me being able to just continue and produce these videos. So, thank you guys a lot. And hey, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the future.
Maybe I should say it in French, perspective. Hein? Et donc la perspective, c'est comme par exemple si tu écoutes Yogev jouer de la batterie et que tu te mets derrière lui, ça va sonner pas très bien. Et si tu te mets en face de lui, ça sonnera pas très bien non plus. Si tu te mets à côté de lui, ça sera pas très bien non plus. Donc même si c'est différentes perspectives, c'est toujours le même son. C'est pas génial. Enfin, moi j'aime pas. Après c'est mes goûts. Hein.